I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes. I know Johnny and Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Van Wy should be here. I think we've all just had busy days. I'm gonna go see just deal with my background lighting as it is. I can't control much. And just Sean as a heads up, the for the Judy Etsy would be the rep for the platform of hope. So if you see her coming when we get ready, you'll need to elevate her. But I don't see her on yet.
I realized you probably didn't hear me before because I was on the wrong microphone. I said thanks.
Okay.
I said thanks for the heads up. Sounds good.
Okay. I had a feeling you're probably trying to.
Yeah, I was still on the camera setting from when we were in person. So
Oh, yeah, it probably defaults to that. I will send a quick. It's just been a day. Whenever the government's gonna shut down, it means in the federal government we do all this work to prepare for it. So I've wasted my entire week to
of course,
prepare for a thing that we don't know if it's even happening.
that's how this country works. So
Um, I can't see Judy there, but now Johnny is joining. Let me double check with Ben. Just waiting for one other commissioner to get on, so we have at least a quorum. I know Johnny's trying. Hopefully, I send another message. So sorry for the delays. I'm still trying to help Commissioner Jones. He says the passcode is wrong. I don't think he needs to.
No,
He doesn't need a passcode.
if he just clicks the link, he should just be able to join.
Right. Okay, I'll let him know. I feel like he's had this problem before. Is the other workaround that he can just call a phone number if that's what we have to do?
Yeah, you can use the if
Oh,
you
maybe he is trying to do that. Maybe he is
you
trying
can
to
use
do the
you can use
phone.
the call-in info. Yeah, I if you need me to send that, I can.
Isn't it 301-715-8592?
Yep.
Does that need a passcode?
Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
I have it right here. It is 283942.
Wait, sorry. Peter's texting me. What was that again?
It's the meeting ID is 896-7925-5265.
That's for Zoom.
Right. If you call in, you need to enter the meeting ID and the passcode.
All of that?
If you're just calling in, yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Sorry.
I know. They don't make it easy. Yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way to join the meeting, just from a phone, like via voice.
Okay.
I can repeat that.
I'm asking him. I apologize to our guests. I'm sorry. I even sent reminders to them today. I will warn everyone, I'm in a mood. So it's been a really rough day at work.
It's one of those weeks.
Okay, I'm trying to confirm with him, but can you repeat what you said for the meeting ID?
Yes, I'll confirm the number as well. It's 301-715-8592.
Thank you.
And then the meeting ID is 896-7925-5265.
Uh-huh.
And then the passcode is 283942.
Yeah, that's everything I sent him last time. So let me he says, no, I'm getting to join. So because we need, Peter's not near a computer. Has he had this issue before? And I don't know what to suggest to him.
Right. I know he's been able to join before. So if he, because I know he has Zoom, so all you would need ideally is the link, and you're in.
Okay, I'm just confirming, like, if Peter, like, if we still, I do want to go, like, have Judy present about stuff, and because we may not be able to vote on it tonight if I can't get another person, but I believe I can still listen to it and then bring it to full committee next week anyway. Oh, Peter, you don't have to run back to your hotel room. I apologize. Oh, Joseph just or Commissioner Banway just said he was running late. I didn't see his email. Okay, he said he'll be in a minute.
Okay.
All right, let me see if I can. I don't know why he can't get in. Oh, Peter, thank you.
I'm on the street, so I'm gonna keep my camera off until I get to like sitting position. But I'm
Thanks,
here.
Peter, Joe should be on his way. We just, Commissioner Jones just can't seem to get Zoom to work. And I feel like we've had a reoccurring, but I can't fix it tonight. And I see Joe there. He's on. He's Commissioner Banway is now on. Okay. Hi, Joe. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
So sorry I was tardy. I was having trouble finding access to Wi-Fi, but I am here.
Okay. Peter, you're off the hook if you need to. We mostly, because I want to just have Judy present for her grant application for Platform of Hope as a guest, so we can vote on that if we take it to the full ANC. So I want to make sure we cover that. I think those of us who work in the federal government or near it in some way, it's been a really stressful week. So
I've had better.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I just want to, now that we have a bit of a quorum here, I do want to move to our first agenda item, and we had a grant application from the Platform of Hope. So Sean, if you want to elevate Judy to a panelist so that we can hear more about that, about her nonprofit and the requests that they submitted. Hi, Judy. Thank you for your patience.
No worries at all. And let me just be the first to say my internet has been really shaky this evening. So when my face inevitably freezes in a really gross position, I'm so glad this will be safe for the record.
I know.
For posterity.
Yeah, and if it seems to freeze a lot, like I can let you know. And if turning your camera off makes it better, that's fine too.
Thanks.
So
Appreciate. Let me know, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we received your grant application, and we wanted to bring you to the PSE meeting to hear more about your organization and sort of some background on the amount of money you're asking for. And then if we have any follow-up questions for you, we'll let you know. And then we generally sort of discuss it as a PSE committee and vote on if we'll advance it to the full ANC for further discussion.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me here. So the Platform of Hope has proudly been in ANC 1C forever, well, since our existence, which is a whopping 5 years ago.
Okay.
We were initially founded as a pilot program by 4 organizations that I'm sure you're going to be very familiar with: Jubilee Housing, Sitar Art Center, Jubilee Jumpstart, and Mary Center. And really, these organizations came together throughout 2017 and 2018, sort of with the mandate that, each of these respective organizations is doing amazing work. And yet the population that they are committed to serving, which are primarily Black and Brown families who have been traditionally economically disadvantaged, are leaving this neighborhood because of the displacement that we see going on, not just in this community, but throughout DC and throughout the country. So what more can we be doing to support families to stay in this incredibly resource-rich community, which has so many assets within it? And yet, as we know, it just has become increasingly difficult for those families to stay here. So that was really the founding of the Platform of Hope came from that. We began our program in September 2018 with a cohort of families who were all referred to us by our partners. A year and a half into our work, the pandemic began, and we actually lost our founding staff member, Sylvia Stokes. And so we truly have, when I say that we are now in our 5th year and we have served 100 families over 5 years, it has truly been a huge, huge undertaking by the original founding partners, by the participants themselves, by the incredibly hardworking staff, and by the amazing network and neighborhood that we are in. And we are truly grateful to have just passed our phase 2 strategic plan. So now we have our next 5 years plotted out for us as we really step into our own as a budding organization. We serve families of color who are primarily based in Ward 1. We work with families to identify and pursue their goals across housing, health, finances, employment, education, and more, knowing that too often in trying to pursue one of these goals, you end up encountering all the other systems. And yet most of those systems do not try to help you across the systems. So it's really a lot about navigating the barriers that families are facing and really supporting them in being in the driver's seat of their own destiny and saying they know best what their family needs, and we just want to help and support them. We provide workshops towards that end on shared themes like financial literacy, trauma-informed care, racial equity, educate how to advocate for their children in schools, domestic violence awareness, a wide range of topics. We provide one-on-one coaching for the families. We also provide referrals to our partners. And then the other thing that's really special about our work is we really believe about building community. And when we first launched and we talked about social capital and the power of social capital, I'm not sure if folks really understood why that would be so important. And then we went through the pandemic and we all experienced, social distancing and how isolating it is to try to live your life and not feel in community with others. So what's really special about our work is it really is about building a network of support amongst the families themselves, knowing that they are the ones with lived experience. They are leaders in their own community already. And we want to have them really feel that they can be truly feel a sense of belonging and a sense of leadership within their community. So it also is doubly special to be here in front of the ANC because I know that's a shared goal of the ANC to really be having the residents of this community have their voices be heard. So what we are asking for with our grant is funding to support the purchase of laptops or Chromebooks, really, that we distribute to each family who, as they begin in our program. We work in cohorts, so we'll be recruiting, well, we're currently recruiting our cohort F, that's because it's our 6th year coming up. They'll begin in January, and then they commit to at least 1 year, January through December. Most folks with us stay with us for about 2 to 3 years. And as we know, we need a laptop, right? You need a laptop to navigate the increasingly digital world. Folks prefer the workshops to be virtual because it removes the barrier of childcare and transportation. Oftentimes folks are coming from work or coming from, they're cooking for their kids and their kids are in the background. So we like being able to remain virtual. And we know that case in point with this meeting, joining with your phone is not always the ideal way to participate. And also it's very hard to actually work and be able to access everything just on a very, very small screen. So we think that providing the laptops is a really important part of the program. And we always give the laptops to the families to keep so that they can truly have then that resource even when they leave the program. What we found when the pandemic began is that most of the kids in the household had some level of computer literacy or a device they had been provided, but the adults did not. And so the adults were not able to use their kid's device while their kids were using it, or they couldn't use their phone if their kid was using it to zoom into something. So that's yet another reason that we really believe to bridge the digital divide, adults really need to have their own device that they can use. And we provide support with helping them navigate the laptops. So that is the request. Last year, we received $2,500 and that funded about 20 laptops. The year before, we had requested $4,000 and that funded 20 laptops. So Last year, we tried to really stay on a budget. This year, things are just more expensive. And so it would mean a lot to have the increase so that the Chromebooks that we are purchasing, we can be sure aren't going to just like break in a couple months, because we do usually buy either used or on sale computers. And happy to answer any questions about our work or about our request.
Right, and it looks like we got our commissioners on for this particular committee. So I may ask a couple questions that may be a bit repetitive from the application you did. So are you able to, is this the money you're asking for? Is this something that are there any other, like, can the district government, the DC government provide any funds for this, or is this on top of what you may have already requested from any DC organization or DC government organization?
So as of a week ago, we didn't receive any money from any DC government organization. I'm thrilled to say today I went to MOLA because we got our first MOLA grant, but that funding is already specifically for interpretation for Spanish language access. So we do not have a government source that is currently giving us laptops. We've also found that that hasn't been the case. When we have adults who need laptops, that's not been something the DC government has been providing. They did it with kids in schools, but not with adults.
Okay. Commissioner Jones, I do see you. I see you. Can you hear me? You're just muted though, so I'm not sure what's going, but I do see you. Okay. I mostly asked that because our treasurer has had some concerns so our grant, the DC and the ANC office has gotten a little bit more stricter. They're reviewing grant applications from ANCs a lot more strictly. During like COVID, there's a little bit more flexibility because of like sort of the emergency needs. So I just wanted to sort of confirm and see that, because I know when I bring it to the full ANC, that will probably be a question or something to look through. And so I just want to give you sort of a warning up front that even if we vote to support the grant and we go forward as an ANC and vote for it, there could be something kicked back at us from the ANC office to say like, well, why didn't they try to get money from this DC agency or something? Like if it's something that the DC government is supposed to provide and they're just not, then that's something that we can definitely help you make sure happens. But I think from what you just were letting us know and explaining it, it does not sound like that's necessarily, there's not really that option.
Yeah. And unfortunately, even in the height of the pandemic, there were not government resources providing laptops to adults, because the primary way they were providing laptops was through the school system.
Right.
So that's why we started doing a big push. We just started our own laptop drive because we were like, well, what about the adults in the household? How are they supposed to communicate? So yeah, if there was another source of funding for laptops, we would go after, but we haven't found that to be the case.
Okay, that's helpful. I guess let me try and see if Commissioner Jones, if we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. All right. So I'll pass it to Judy. Any other commissioners have any questions for Judy about Platform of Hope or this grant application?
I have one quick question. First of all, thank you for all of your work. It sounds like an incredible program and a really important resource for our community. And so on behalf of the ANC, just thank you so much for all that you do. One quick question, just because I'm curious, I guess, what is the sort of magnifying effect that this grant would have? Like without the grant, how much are you able to provide? You know, where, I guess it'd be great to know sort of how impactful compared to what you'd be able to do without the grant, this would be.
Yeah, it's a great question. So our very first year, we provided laptops that had been donated to us, and all of the laptops broke. Basically, we were like, what a waste. Because what happens is people are like, oh, I have an old laptop. Let me give it to you. Guess what? There's a reason they're giving away that laptop. They don't want to use it, right? Yeah. So what we found was the best way of ensuring that if we got folks a laptop, we can make sure the laptops worked. And if they couldn't work, we would have, what is that called? Your warranty. You could go in, and that's why we actually always buy them from the Best Buy, because it's right there in Columbia Heights. So I have literally done this where I've walked, with a family and we've gotten a computer repaired or replaced because it stopped working. And so that's really important, because we are working with a population that's not always the most tech literate, to make sure that they actually have computers that they would be able to get replaced or fixed if not. And so the magnifying impact is, we don't really have it in our budget to spend $3,000 on computers for families. So what we would end up doing is relying on getting people to donate them, and we just continually see them break down throughout the year. And it's very frustrating for families, and it's a waste of time for the staff, quite frankly, to try to solve people's. Nobody wants me to be their IT person, because anyone will tell you I'm not qualified. So that's the one problem. But the other magnifying effect is that we've really found, as we're trying to support families with obtaining their goals, they really need a computer. Case in point, if someone is working on applying for a job, they need to be able to work on their resume. It's so hard to work on a resume from your phone. You just the formatting is going to be all screwed up. It gets lost. So what we found is that laptops are important, not just as a way for supporting participation in our program, but in actually, whether it's filling out an application for housing, or filling out the ERAP emergency rental application, or whether it's helping to fill out scholarship forms for a child's school, or whether it's applying for a job, or it's all of these things. Everything's on the computer now, and that's become even more so because of the pandemic. Things that used to be offered in person, whether it's like law clinics or back to school information, everything's on the computer now. And there's an expectation that folks are going to be able to, fill out PDFs, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the magnifying impact for us is, we truly want these computers, not just to support our program, but actually as an investment in that family. And so that family can continue to use it to pursue the things that they're going to need to pursue, both within our program and just in life in general.
Absolutely. And as someone who just recently bought a computer from that Best Buy and it broke recently, I'm very excited to know that you will also invest in the warranties, because I'm going to be taking that up on Friday. So yeah, that was my main question. But thank you for your really thorough presentation, and for all of your work. Sounds like a really, really meaningful, impactful program.
Thanks so much.
I do want to chime in on that. It sounds like you're doing something very worthwhile. And so my support is here.
All right. Well, I think I'd like to move to, vote to who's in favor of supporting this grant application. I'll say aye.
Aye.
So what we'll do next, Judy, is I'll note that it was a unanimous vote to support the grant application, and we will then take this to the full ANC to present this to them, and then the full ANC will vote on it as well. And just like I said, we might be some back and forth with our treasurer about any other particular things we need to nitpick or look at, just because of audit concerns. I do want to mention before you jump off, and you're welcome to stay for the full meeting, but you do not have to. I did want to put a plug in. So I was alerted that by the Adams Morgan bid, they're at the October Porch Fest on the 14th. And Brian, if you want to put in the chat any other details, if I miss, they are offering for any nonprofits that want to do tabling during the Porch Fest, that would be an opportunity. And I don't know if that's something you've heard about, or if you'd like more information about it, but Brian or can put that in the chat, or I can forward information to you as I get it.
Yes, no, I have the information. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Because we work the third Saturday of every month for our family Saturdays, that would be, I'm going to see if I can go to that. So the staff's not working 2 Saturdays in a row. But thank you so much for mentioning it. We are aware, and the Adams Morgan bid has been super proactive about reaching out, which is awesome. Yeah. And thank you everyone for voting and for your support. I really appreciate it. We love the ANC. I really appreciate everyone's help. And know that you all are working as essentially volunteers on top of day jobs and lives. So thank you for your work. Do you need me to attend the ANC meeting, the full ANC meeting?
It can help if there's additional questions to ask. So once the agenda for the full ANC should be coming out soon, and I can get a sense of like the timing of that, and we can connect more offline, because I could even like text you or email you to let you know when it's coming up, so you don't have to like you're always welcome to attend the entire time, but I know that people's time is valuable. So it helps. It can help just to in case there's questions that come up about particular funding or any more technical issues that can't be helpful.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to attend, particularly because I know those questions do sometimes arise. It's the same night as my advisory board meeting, so I will be joining slightly late. So yes, if it's possible to just keep me posted, but very happy to be there. And thank you again, everyone, for the votes of support.
Yeah, and if that's the case, maybe we can just sort of push you later into the agenda. We could probably do something like that.
I don't think, based on my experience in the past, we're plenty late in the agenda.
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry
you're
about
probably
it.
right. You're probably right. But yeah, we can be in touch and I can sort of give you a heads up of like when you're coming up.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, and I guess I'll say goodnight then.
Yeah, thanks, Judy. It was nice meeting you.
Thanks so much, Judy.
Thank you.
Okay, so the second item on the agenda is, so we need to discuss, and this Sean, who is right now doing the technical work for AV, for the AV, we need to discuss some elements about his renewing the contract for AV, for I guess AV services for the next fiscal year. So we wanted to discuss that in this particular PSE meeting so that we can bring any items or things to discuss to the full ANC next week. So I guess, Sean, do you want to give us a little bit of detail about what kind of contract you're proposing, and I guess any costs associated with that, and just sort of bring my memory about some of that information? And I know if Peter is still listening or here, I see him there, he can add to it as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's there. I started actually this time last year full time, so the contract is essentially the same. All the details are the same in terms of managing digital meetings, setting things up, making sure things run smoothly. I'm happy to continue to assist with the in person as well. I just ask for everyone's patience as I get better with all of that equipment, because I don't have that much AV. Like, I have Zoom experience managing Zoom, but my AV experience is not as extensive as other people's would be in the immediate need. I feel like I made progress since the last time, but just continue to ask for patience if people decide that they want to continue to do in-person meetings from time to time. But I'm happy to continue to still manage the Zoom, the YouTube live streams. I enjoy doing all of that. I enjoy helping everyone out and helping out the neighborhoods. So all of the contract details are the same, and if we want to, I don't know how we want to work out the in-person aspect of that, but I'm happy to even take a little decrease in pay if my needs are only restricted to Zoom, if that makes sense. So I'm happy to do that as well. Currently it's $500 a month, but I'm happy to lessen that if we decide that to Zoom only to help things out. I know budgets are important and all of that, and everything's on a tight budget. So yeah, happy to work everything out. But the contract as it exists now, nothing I think, and Peter can correct me as well on this, I don't think anything too extensive would have to be modified in terms of language. So yeah.
So that contract would cover, the contract is a strictly remote or virtual contract,
so it
right?
doesn't specify in person, but it does kind of assume that the language, the term, Peter can speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Wood.
Yeah, I'll do my best. So, I mean, I didn't write the original contract, but I've read it. I mean, I think that actually the hybrid component is something that was like a gray area. So we could even just make it clear one way or another. It was, I don't remember the exact language, but it's something like responsible for virtual. This position is responsible for virtual type meetings and also meetings that have an in-person component. But as we've learned, having it hybrid is just adds additional stresses on the technologies required. And Sean and I learned it all together. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
But I mean, on one hand, in any case, I think it's important to have it clear. And also this contract, how it's currently written, it's not like if we don't do something at this moment or in the next few weeks, by the time it expires, it can still go month to month. It won't just completely make
right. So
Okay.
the specific language, and I have the quote here. It's Sullivan shall attend and produce all meetings of ANC 1C's full commission, virtual or in person, and ANC 1C committee meetings if they are held virtually. That production includes coordinating virtual participation and broadcasting a live stream, setup, live production breakdown.
Perfect. So like just on that note, I mean, of course, like it's related, but not exactly the same conversation, related to, but not the same conversation as how we should have meetings. As we've had that discussion as commissioners a bit too, which is tricky because on one hand, I think we've all heard of some people that like having some options sometimes for in-person.
Right.
Also, at least my experience, most of the people who advocated for that did never show up for those in-person meetings, for ANC and otherwise.
Yeah.
So I've had people emailing me saying, hey, we should have meetings in person. And I sent them back videos of all of the meetings that they didn't go to. And that's okay. Like I get it, people are busy, but also we got to be practical. There's costs incurred, and it's hard enough getting people to come virtually or just making it so our schedules can align. It's tough. However, it's not entirely clear as far as DC Council's legislation will go if we'll always have the option of having virtual. It's definitely possible. It's just kind of during the course of the pandemic and some of that's temporarily extended. So I think in the next few weeks, Council is scheduled to potentially take more permanent some sort of action. I'll double check exactly what they do and follow it, but that's like a thing that we do need to monitor, which is what are we legally permitted to do. Most ANCs, if not all, I've thought about tracking which ANCs have any sort of in-person component at all. I don't think anyone's doing committee meetings in person because that would be frankly a waste of resources because they're small. But yeah, I think that's worth considering. I don't think we need to make big changes. I mean, I wouldn't, as we've talked to Sean before, the argument for just making it clear that, for example, hybrid would be off the table, very limited, would make sense, with the exception that it's probably worth at this point keeping something on the table so we can be prepared in the event that we legally have an obligation to have an in-person component. But besides that, it's just kind of up to us to decide what works best for us. So
that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
So, and forgive me, I didn't look at, I don't know if I had the contract out. Would you need this committee to vote on the contract to bring it to the full ANC, or just bring it to the full ANC to have more of a discussion? Because I know Commissioner Shapiro will be out and he's treasurer, so I don't know if we would need his feedback.
Yeah, so I should have brought that before too. And I guess it relates to the last point, which is that since our treasurer won't be at the next meeting, honestly, Judy might not even need to come. It's not a huge deal either way. But
Yeah,
also
I can confirm.
I mean, committees don't technically need to do anything ever.
Okay.
The official action can only be taken by the full ANC.
Okay.
So committees exist, to break up the workload. So in theory, our monthly meetings aren't super long, so that some of the discussions can happen at these. Doesn't always work perfectly, but that's the intention.
Right. Okay.
So, in that sense, nothing would happen to happen. I mean, when a committee passes something, the benefits are basically at the main meeting, there's no second required. And it's just a way of simply saying, hey, our committee discussed this and we're in, especially if it's unanimous agreement, it makes the vote a little bit easier for the people who are on the fence or just didn't accompany the developments of the items as well as they might have wanted to. So makes it for a vote sometimes.
I think I have a couple more questions, but I don't want to, if Commissioner Jones or Commissioner Banwai has any questions, I don't want to, if you please speak up if you have any comments or questions.
No, I appreciate the detail that's been given to this. I like the way it's going.
Yeah, no, it's good to check in, and I'm happy to hear. I also haven't had a chance to look at the contract, so defer to those who have read it on the best way to proceed. but yeah, it's been great so far.
I guess so. Before, I guess, and Peter, you were probably were you a commissioner only during COVID?
And my entire life experience is
Okay,
COVID.
so you've never been,
started
you were
in
not on the
2012.
commission before. Because I'm just, I'm just curious what kind of AV was needed when we met in person only, like the 4 times. Were there ever AV contracts? Like, I don't know if meetings had to be recorded, or if it was just through meeting notes.
As far as I know, they didn't need to be, and there was no real, like, the same type of pressure didn't exist to have a
Okay.
virtual component because there wasn't a health crisis. However, I don't know if it was like contractually put into place, but Sean's predecessor, Gordon, he did that. But I don't know if it was a virtual hybrid, or I don't think that the in-person component also had the hybrid virtual kind of participation element.
Yeah,
Because
I actually
think-
went back. I went back to into like the old YouTube page videos, and I looked at it, and it was just
Streaming, right?
it was just the camera. Like there was no, like, it was just like a live stream. Like there was no virtual.
Okay.
So, yeah.
For a few meetings before, so like I want to say November, December 2019, January, February 2020, before a public health emergency existed in the United States. It was at Mary Center, but there was a live stream that was online. So there were videos
Got
of
it.
the meeting.
Yeah, I'm remembering that now. Okay.
The one I saw was like from late 2019. So yeah.
Okay. And then for committee meetings, were those in person, or did people just call each other like on the phone? Or they met at the library?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question, because they paid money to use Mary Center. So they had those expenses. So
okay.
I don't remember I'd never been to an in-person committee meeting, so I don't know.
Okay.
I should probably know, but I just don't. I can find out though.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So, yeah, and Sean, my impression was that you prefer the not hybrid, but the virtual, primarily doing, like, your preference is to do only the virtual stuff, right?
Yeah, like I said, I'm happy to continue learning the hybrid equipment. I didn't specifically have that background in like setting up hybrid meetings, but I'm happy to continue to like learn little by little as we go. So
Okay. Oh, and
but my experience is more Zoom specific.
Yeah. No, and I totally understand. And it's you want to feel successful and comfortable with the work you're doing first. I get it. Like, running the hybrid meetings was definitely it's I think yes, like as Peter said, it is something that we as a commission sort of have to figure out the future, whatever our meetings will look like. But we definitely wanted to discuss your future with us and your contract. We appreciate everything you do.
No, I appreciate it. I'm
yeah.
happy. I enjoy helping you all out and in turn our neighborhood. So
right. And Peter.
Just 2 other things I forgot to mention. One, it's like, just as far as the future of, assuming there is a plausibility of having virtual components or hybrid in the future. The office of the ANC has recently purchased, I don't know what, but gear, some sort of kit that each ward will have their own, I guess, hybrid kit that they can share among the different ANCs to be able to have hybrid meetings, and there's offering trainings. We don't own our own equipment, so I don't know if I even want to mess around with extra stuff. But it's tricky because the advantage is it would be uniform and potentially simpler. The disadvantages would be, I don't know if it's as good as what we have. Well, I don't know if it'd have like the robust nature of like having multiple camera angles and microphones, but also we haven't been able to make that work because we don't have like a lot of uniform equipment. We've been piecing together stuff that some of us own individually as well to make it better. But like the problem with that is you have to have all the software and the hardware line, and that's what's caused our problems.
Well, and we had the other complication for us is that the line has, like, they want us out by 9 o'clock, right? Was it 9 or 10? One of those.
Is that a good thing? But
yeah, it's good and bad, right? But it is another another
That's another-
complicating factor.
Another variable to consider for sure is that we don't have, if we would have it at the line, we'd almost certainly have to find a place that we would have to pay money to, and we don't really have a budget for that.
Yeah.
And also attendance in person is low. And so, yeah, there's like, that's a big discussion, and there's a lot of arguments in different directions, but it's worth considering.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
I'd be happy to look at the schedule. I know, Peter, you sent me an email about that. I don't know if they have more dates or anything, but I'm happy to look to see if anyone would fit, and maybe I could listen in or see if I pick up anything. So.
I mean, it's okay. I think for now we're in a good spot. At least for the rest of this calendar year, we have everything set, just because we had to decide. And then every year we decide on I think at our January meeting, we'll have to vote officially at our ANC meeting on the next year schedule tentatively.
Okay.
So that's to consider. And also we'd have to share the equipment with other ANCs if we would use that stuff, is what I'm gonna say. But just the other important point, like I was saying, we do have a contract that can go month to month. So there's not like immense pressure to come up with something new. But Sean's good, and I want to lock him down. So
Yeah. No, I would like him to know that we support. Okay, so your contract is month to month. So even if we can't solidify it because our treasurer will be out, we have that. I guess we don't really have to vote on anything because I don't, like I said, we don't have the contract up for others to view. It was mostly a discussion on it, but this helps provide some clarity about like what role you want to do for the commission, Sean, and the general ballpark fee is helpful. So, and you get that set amount regardless of if I know often for PSC we'll cancel if we don't have any agenda items. You get that amount no matter what, right? It's not based on how many.
That was monthly. Yeah.
Okay.
What about consideration of notice? For instance, say he gets a job, giving him $1 million a week in Hawaii, and he has to leave.
I'll be dead and in the ground before I leave.
There is a clause that says that either party can terminate the contract with 30 days notice, I think.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
You have to be an ANC meeting millionaire coordinator for and then you can jump the ship.
Okay. All right. I think that is helpful. I think as we as a commission figure out our meeting schedule and what our options are, it'll be nice to know that we have you to work with us, Sean. And I think I support the current contract, but like I said, we could bring it up at the next full ANC meeting, the details of it, or I'm not really sure what would be best, Peter, however you want to put it in the agenda, we can certainly talk about it more.
Yeah, I mean, like any other item, if a committee passes it, it automatically goes on. I mean, I would put it on anyway, probably just so we can talk about it. So
Okay.
As if the chair of it's kind of be like Robert's Rules stuff, but if there's disagreement between members and the chair of what should be an agenda item, if a committee passes it, it supersedes what the chair can do. Just like if the majority of the commission wants an item agenda, chair can't unilaterally get rid of it. So the majority always speaks, but as far as we're concerned, it's just kind of trivial, but just an extra detail.
Okay. Would you like us to take a vote on anything tonight or to help with I'm just I would, ask for if there's support for continuing Sean's contract at $500 a month to run our virtual meetings. Is there support for that? Do I have a second?
I support that.
I second. Yeah.
Okay. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So I can forward that along, Peter, as what we supported from PSE.
We got it. And then if you already mentioned, if it seems like we discussed as a group at our next week's meeting that not having Barney there for some reason is important detail, we can always end of the month. Nothing would really change our practice. So and we'll draw community feedback if anyone had a comment on it. Just next opportunity.
And I know next month's meeting is definitely online, right? It is virtual, so we shouldn't. So we'll be in practice for it. Exactly what we're doing. Okay. All right. I appreciate that. Okay. I will note that and send that in my notes to you, Peter, for the meeting. Okay.
I appreciate you all, and it's been a real pleasure getting to know everyone and getting more involved in the neighborhood over the past year. So looking forward to continuing it. So thank you all again. I'm gonna switch the camera off again now. But
Okay. Yeah, it was nice to see you
I'll
on
be
camera,
here.
Sean.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we got to
We never
see the
see
man
you.
behind
Right. Appreciate it. I'll see
thank you for your service, man. Thank you. For
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I'll see everybody again soon.
Okay. All right, and then just the last item on our agenda, which maybe we'll need to do an in-person meeting at Potter's house to talk more in detail. So this sort of overlaps nicely with what we were just talking about, like how we as a commission are gonna do our meetings. It does seem we get a lot more people to participate when it is online, and I totally get that. So one thing that's a possibility is that, if we keep our meetings, like all of our meetings, virtual, but to help keep interacting with the community in an in-person and capacity, maybe as a commission we should, once or twice a year have like an event or a forum, maybe organized around a particular concept or idea, so that our members and our constituents in our area could come to those events and learn more about their ANC, their SMD areas, and then the various different types of nonprofits and other things within their community. So one thing that Commissioner Jones and I had sort of pursued a bit, but sort of lost track with, and now we got to get back on it.
Right.
Was having an event, one that would recognize
Jubilee Housing,
Jubilee Housing, as well as Potter's House,
as well as Potter's House, correct.
Which are two nonprofits that serve our ANC. Jubilee Housing really serves a big chunk of Ward 1, but they have a lot of their properties and a lot of their nonprofit work located right in 1C, and Potter's House, of course, is on Columbia Road in 1C as well. So it was sort of a joint thing to recognize their contributions to the community, and then we could also have that as a public event in place of an in-person full ANC meeting for members to come to. So it was something that we've been kicking around, and we just sort of need to get back on track to do that. And we are coming up on the holiday season. So this could be also a good time if we highlight these two nonprofits, to help them spend some time talking about their mission, but also ask for donations for the work they do. I don't know if Commissioner Jones, you mentioned that you might try to start up that conversation with Potter's House. I don't know if you had time to do any of that.
No, I didn't. I haven't followed up with Potter's House except the meeting that we had, and the element in it that has motivated me was, as you said, the Potter's House and Jubilee Housing have made a significant contribution to the stabilization of housing in Adams Morgan. And what I want to do is I've discussed this with several commissioners. I want to have a recognition of that, a public recognition. And Linda was talking about expanding and having it as a magnet opportunity to either have so that housing can be housing opportunities that they provide can be announced to the community, and it can be a broader social event rather than just this recognition ceremony, which is what I had in mind. But yes, Linda, let's get in touch again and put it back on track, and maybe we can come back at the next ANC meeting with a more solid and complete proposal about what we want to do.
And one, it might be too much, might be overkill, but we could try to see if any council members would
Yes,
to attend, or it would be nice to be able to put people in touch with any particular services, service organizations other than Potter's House and Jubilee, if they need housing assistance, childcare assistance, anything like that. But I think, yeah, the larger goal is definitely to just mostly recognize those two organizations with some kind of formal resolution from us, but then also giving them a chance to share their history and mission with us, since there's so much to learn. So I know I put this on the agenda a couple times. It's mostly to keep us on track with it, but I think it's something that we'll need to follow up. So I think to Commissioner Jones and Ben White, what I'll do is I'll reach back out. I think her name is Andrea at Potter's House, and set up a time to meet with her again and see if we can get someone from Jubilee Housing and find a time to hold this event. And one thing we will probably have to ask the full ANC for approval on, or from our treasurer. I know that Potter's House did charge a small fee for their room. I think it was around $250, which is a pretty small amount. And that we would not ask for any food services because that made the contract more expensive, but we could certainly do it at a morning or lunchtime, and that maybe would encourage people coming to buy food from Potter's themselves.
Right. In addition to the small cost, I was hoping to give them a sort of some kind of plaque of recognition for the services that they provide as a part of the ceremony, I guess, for put this in a package, and as a part of that package would be some kind of small recognition plaque that they can hang on their wall.
Okay. Commissioner Jones, if you want to look into what that pricing would be for something like that, that would be really helpful, just to sort of see how much that would cost.
All right, I'll look it up. I'm sure it's insignificant.
Yeah, but just in case,
Okay.
if we want to ask the ANC to pay for it, we'll need.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah. Commissioner Van Wy, did you have a question, comment?
I just love this idea. I think it's great. Thank you all so much for working on it. Let me know if I can be of assistance. But I think this is fantastic. I think those are two really tentpole organizations in our community that do so much incredible work. I'm very familiar with Potter's House. I'm less familiar with Jubilee, although I know some of their work, and I think recognizing that and getting into the community are both two fantastic goals, and strongly supportive. Love this idea. Thank you both for bringing it.
Yeah, and if I'm furloughed next month, I'll have time to work on it. I'm not bitter about this. Okay.
No, doesn't sound bitter at all.
Too many of these shutdowns. All right, so I think we'll just sort of keep working forward on that. Certainly, if there's any suggestions but I hopefully these two nonprofits are going to participate in the tabling for Porch Fest, but I will definitely send some information to them to let them know about that opportunity. Well, I think that concludes the agenda items we had for tonight, unless there are any other comments or questions that commissioners had, or any, I think we only just have Brian from the public, but if there's any other comments or questions, I'm happy to hear those now before concluding. Okay, well, thank you. We figured out our tech issues. We all got here in one piece. And, I'll see you all next month for our full ANC meeting.
Thank you, everyone. See everybody soon.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for a great meeting, Chair Laughlin. I'll see you all soon.
Good night.
Thanks a lot.